Yo, what is up, guys? Back here with another video. So, funny enough, I actually had recorded this video, and then I find out that I had myself muted the whole time. So, kind of feels bad on that one, bro. But, we're here again. Hopefully I'm not muted this time. I'll even double check right now just to make sure that you guys... Yep, okay, cool. So, yeah, pretty much I kind of broke down this whole team, and then I finished the video, I uploaded to YouTube, and I realized, well, I have no audio. So I just had to kind of re-upload it, but it's all good. All right, well, I have to redo it now, but then I'll re-upload it. But yeah, so today we're going to be going over a Kyogre team. Pretty much your standard Serena Kyogre stuff. But it is a really interesting team, actually, utilizing Shedinja here. So really excited to bring you guys that. And also, before we get into the actual team itself, I just want to let you guys know, I have been seeing your comments. I do want to include matchups for this team that I actually want to kind of go through. I don't just want to do random showdown matches because I feel like that's not going to offer you guys much substance. I don't think that necessarily ladder reflects the exact skill level and maybe teams that you're going to be seeing in tournament. So I don't really want to like give you guys kind of a false image of the team in that way. And another thing I want to get out of the way is I do want to give credit for this team to Victor, or Torviv. He actually just won a huge VGC major with us recently, so I will have the link to said team and his rental code, but I did change the sets to what I think is a little bit more optimal. But regardless, we will be going into the team. So the first thing I want to touch on is actually the Kyogre. So the Kyogre that we have here is actually going to be a Wave Incense Kyogre, or Mystic Water, kind of same thing. I think it is just Wave Incense though, but it's basically the same thing. It is utilizing Water Spout, Ice Beam, Scald, and Protect. So the one thing of note here is obviously that's utilizing Scald instead of potentially Origin Pulse. Having a way to get around Wide Guard is really important. Kyogre is obviously a very key damage tool on this team. You really want to be doing serious damage with it. You want to be putting on a lot of pressure with it, and I think that is pretty much what it has to offer, right? So you don't want to get completely walled out by Wide Guard, which is becoming increasingly common in this format. Kyogre, obviously, too, the main reasoning for this team being a Kyogre team is obviously it offers a lot of damage. So having a single target water move is just incredibly strong. The next one on the team is actually going to be the Incineroar. So the Incineroar utilizing Safety Goggles here, which I think is a very, very good item, because otherwise I think you'd be pretty weak to opposing Spores. I think that's like the main thing that you need to keep in mind, right? You definitely want to avoid being too weak to opposing Spores. Leaving yourself open to Mungus isn't necessarily the most optimal play, so kind of being conscious of that's very, very important. The nice thing here, actually, I do think we're actually Citrus Berry on this team. Let me double check on that real quick. I might have to fix this real quick in front of you guys, which I apologize for. Sometimes there is a slight error in judgment. I am up at 3 a.m. like the title says, so funny enough. But yeah, we're actually going to change it to Citrus. Your Mungus matchup is still okay. This is something I overlooked a little bit when I was first discussing it. The thing you have here is pretty much using your Flare Blitz pressure and your Taunt pressure from Tornadus. I kind of overlooked the Tornadus in this situation. I completely forgot that we were utilizing Citrus Berry here. One thing I will say, though, is you can consider changing it to Safety Goggles. It might actually help you a little bit as well. Those are kind of two interchangeable items, I think, on the team, and the pace will be down below for you guys to kind of experiment with if you guys would like to use it on Showdown, or if you guys would like to use it on Ladder, because obviously the rental code's here. For the Incineroar, though, pretty much utilizing Snarl just helps you deal with opposing stuff like Calyrex Ice, or not Calyrex Ice, Calyrex Shadow, and Lunala. And Lunala actually had a decent showing in this weekend's tournament, so I think Snarl will still be relevant on Incineroar. Parting Shot and Flare Blitz and Fake Out don't really require much explanation. I think those are just standard Incineroar options that you really want to use. So going on to the Serena here, it's actually going to be a 4 coverage move Serena with Assault Vest. I think Assault Vest is very good here because it allows you to invest in your Serena's offense and not sacrifice its bulk for it, right? Its defense is already naturally pretty high. I think it's a base stat of 98 defense. And its special defense is also a base stat of 98. So it's already pretty solid in that regard in terms of really being able to soak up damage, and the AV is only going to help with that, kind of preventing you from taking as much damage while you're still able to go for strong offensive moves. The nice thing here, too, is that because the Serena does have this Assault Vest, this Serena specifically is very invested in EVs on offense. So it's going to be doing a lot of damage with Power Whip. It's going to be doing a lot of damage with High Jump Kick, Triple Axle, and U-Turn. U-Turn, an incredibly important pivoting option, allowing you to get your Kyogre or your potential other Mons in safely with these teams. So we're going to see U-Turn's really just a pivotal part of majority of these teams and just repositioning in general, kind of getting your Kyogre in at the proper time or getting your Regieleki in at the proper time. So now going into Tornadus. So Tornadus, I think, is one of the cooler Mons in terms of their sets on the team. I think that Hurricane really, Hurricane boosted by Life Orb is actually really threatening. It could do a bunch of damage. This team typically struggles with opposing grass types. So Life Orb Tornadus really just lets you kind of put that extra pressure on the opponent's team. We're going to see this Tornadus also opting to be a little bit more offensive, which means it's going to actually be chunking things pretty heavily, which may seem like you want the bulky set, but actually having an offensive set that can potentially be protected by Serena and also really threatening next to Kyogre is very solid. So the other two moves that it will be running along with Tailwind and Hurricane is going to be Icy Wind and Taunt. So Taunt, able to shut down stuff like Amoonguss, as I discussed, could be problematic. So having Taunt to shut it down is really important, along with Hurricane to pressure non-Koba Amoongusses or non-Sash Amoongusses. Icy Wind is really good because you have an extra form of speed control combined with Tailwind. So not only can you just go for Icy Winds, you can also go for Tailwinds. You can really reduce the opponent's speed. Icy Wind also gives you a strong way to chunk opposing Rillabooms and chunk opposing Serenas. So it's super, super nice, especially when you're not certain about a swap and you kind of want to call it out. So definitely a really nice option. I think this Tornadus set is probably one of the cooler things on this team personally. But going on to Regieleki, pretty straightforward. Choice Specs Regieleki typically just utilized for electric moves. Sometimes they run Hyper Beam over one of the last electric moves to really put on pressure. In this case, we are only going to be running 4 electric moves. So the main logic for this is Thunder gives you a really powerful burst damage option, especially paired next to Kyogre, which is very low risk. As you can see in the common leads down below, which I will touch on, you can also lead Regieleki Kyogre together, potentially swap into Serena, and have a guaranteed accurate Thunder with specs here, which is just super, super strong. Along with that, also, too, you're kind of running the 3 safe coverage moves with Volt Switch, Electro Web, and Thunderbolt, kind of allowing you to go for safe damage without the risk of missing, or as much of a risk of missing when it comes to Electro Web. So that's like kind of the main benefit there. So you do have speed control with Icy Wind, Electro Web, and Tailwind, so that is very useful on this team. Now, going into the final mon, which honestly I think is like the super, super cool one, is actually going to be the Shedinja. So why is Shedinja good, people may ask? Well, Shedinja offers a few things. Not only does it have Shadow Sneak, which allows you to kind of chip Calyrex. Even if you get a little bit of chip on a Calyrex Shadow, it will actually die to a Shedinja Shadow Sneak, which is really nice. But beyond that, the other thing Shedinja offers is its resist, or basically immunities at this point, to all of the other partners' really weaknesses. So if we look at Tornadus, for example, right? It's weak to electric type moves. It's weak to ice type moves. Shedinja can swap into both of those. Serena, weak to ice type moves, can swap into that. Obviously, it can't swap into fire moves or rock moves, so I'm not mentioning those. For Regieleki, it's weak to ground moves. You can just swap your Shedinja in for that. Same with Incineroar. Same with fighting moves on Incineroar. Like, there are so many options and things that you can swap into to cover your teammates' weaknesses. And for Kyogre specifically, even the electric and grass weakness, and also covering for just grassy glides, Shedinja can do that and really come in. So I think it's a really cool option. Also has the potential of endgaming stuff like Xerneas, because Xerneas has nothing to actually break it. So it's super helpful. Now, the whole moveset of this Shedinja is actually going to be Shadow Sneak, Will-O-Wisp, Ally Switch, and Protect. Ally Switch obviously giving you a way to protect your partners. That can really make a difference because sometimes a Grassy Glide will be coming into your Kyogre, and maybe your Serena's down and you can't avoid it otherwise. So being able to go for that Ally Switch and really threatening the opponent is super nice. Will-O-Wisp also is really good because potentially you can protect your Kyogre, right? And then go for a Will-O-Wisp into something like Rillaboom or another physical attacker. And that's going to be very, very helpful in the long term for your team because you're going to have all these extra options to really protect your Kyogre. And then obviously Shadow Sneak just for damage, and then you have Protect just to keep your Shedinja safe, and also maybe you're reading a double target and then trying to remove your Shedinja. Not only is Shedinja a great support for Kyogre and the rest of the team, but it's actually just a great endgame mon. You can really leverage it versus your opponent to kind of put them in a bad position. So I think that's like honestly one of the coolest things about this Pokemon, probably my favorite thing about it on this team. So now going into the common leads. So Tornadus and Incineroar, obviously very common lead here, being able to go for a Fake Out and a Tailwind, pretty straightforward. Another thing that kind of alternates with Incineroar is actually the Serena, because sometimes you can lead Serena just to immediately avoid the Fake Out, maybe you turn into your Kyogre and set Tailwind. So it really depends on the matchup and kind of how you want to approach it, but kind of two ways to approach the same thing. same idea. You kind of want to cycle into your Kyogre safely, get the Tailwind up, and then kind of sweep through with the Kyogre. Now, Regieleki Kyogre is a little bit different. This is typically better versus teams that are a little bit more aggressive and don't have much speed control to really stop you from just clicking Electro Web, Water Spout. Obviously, Electro Web able to break sashes, and then Water Spout able to follow up with the KO. This pairing is really strong and threatens a lot of damage together, so it's going to be super, super useful. Beyond that, I mean, you also have the options of potentially swapping in Serena, as I mentioned, kind of baiting a Rillaboom Grassy Glide into one of the slots and going for an attack with them. So you have a lot of options here. I think that's kind of the cool thing about this team and this lead. But yeah, final lead, Kyogre Tornadus. So this lead is usually better into things that don't really have an immediate answer for speed control or are kind of forced to just sit there and take Water Spouts and try and position around you. Water Spout is a very powerful tool that can deal a bunch of damage. So forcing your opponents to really respect that option and kind of swap in and take damage from Water Spouts is only going to advance your game. When Tailwind is up and you're able to go for both Water Spouts and Hurricanes as well, it becomes even more threatening, which I think is even more useful. So definitely two Pokemon that I think are going to play a very big role on the team. You can lead these together in a lot of cases, potentially even just to bait a Fake Out or a Grassy Glide. So I think that's all very solid. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful for you guys. I wanted to make sure that I was giving you guys a detailed explanation of each of these teams and these pieces. In the future, I will try and be putting showdown replays or just some kind of matchup previews with this video, but you guys will have to bear with me. Obviously, I am one person. I'm trying to present the best content I can, so it does take a bit of time to work on. But once again, I do appreciate all the support that you guys give me. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure to check out the coaching links down below and my all other social links down below, especially my Twitch, where I stream consistently. Pretty much just showing you guys consistent battle content, pretty much all for Series 10 at this point. And coaching, obviously, where I can kind of help you guys improve and I really work with you one-on-one to really work and kind of achieve your goals. So, once again, thank you guys for all the support. Super appreciate you guys. And once again, I will be trying to extend these videos and adding a bit more detail to them. But yeah, again, thank you for the support, and I will see you guys on the next video.